What we're going to do is we're going to graph systems of equations and inequalities. The first three that we're going to do are equations, and then we're going to look at inequalities. So we have y equals 2. What we're going to do is we're going to graph each one of those equations. So for the first one, y equals 2, we're going to go 2 on the y-axis, and we're going to draw a horizontal line. Then for the second one, x equals 3, what we're going to do is we're going to go to 3 on the x-axis, and we're going to draw a vertical line. Now our answer is where they cross. So that means that our answer is going to be the ordered pair 3 and 2. So that's our first one. Now for our second one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off with our first equation. Our y-intercept is -3. So on the y-axis, we plot a point at -3. Our slope is 2. So we're going to do 2 over 1. I'm going to go from that point up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, and I'm going to draw my line. For the second equation, notice that the y-intercept is -1. So I plot a point at -1. My slope is in front of the x, so that would be technically 1 or 1 over 1. So I go up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1 again, and I draw my line. Now remember, our answer is where the two overlap. We see the two overlapping right there, so that gives us the answer, which is 2, 1. Now for our third one, we're going to do the same thing. For the first equation, our y-intercept is positive 1, so we plot a point at 1. Slope is -1/2, so I go down 1 to the right 2. I'm going to go down 1 to the right 2 again, and that right there gives me my line. For the second one, I'm going to get the y by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 2x, and when I subtract the 2x, I get y equals -2x plus 8, and I forgot the 4. Then I divide it by 4. So I get y equals -1/2 x plus 2. So I plot a point at 2. I go down 1 over 2 again, down 1 over 2. And what I notice about this one that's different than the other ones is that it does not cross. Since it does not cross, that means my answer is going to be no solution. Now for the next three, these are going to be inequalities. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be shading these. For the first one, we have x is less than 2. So on the x-axis, I go to 2. I draw a dashed line. The reason that it's a dashed line is because this is less than, not less than or equal to. If there's a line right there, then it would be a solid line. Since it's less than, I'm going to shade to the left. For the second one, I have y is less than or equal to -1. So -1 on the y-axis, I'm drawing a solid line. And since it's less than, I'm going to shade below. Now my answer is where the two overlap. So I see the two overlapping right here. So I'm just going to make sure that that's shaded in so I know what my final answer is. For the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my first inequality, and that's -3. My slope is 3, which is 3 over 1. So I go up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. It's going to be a dashed line. And less than means that I shade below. For my second inequality, I see that my y-intercept is a positive 1. My slope is -2, so that would be -2 over 1. So I go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1 again. This is a dashed line. and less than means that I shade below. My answer is where the two overlap. So where I see the red and the blue is going to be this little triangle area right here. Letter F, I notice that each of these are in standard form. So that means I need to get the y by itself. So with the first one, I subtract the x, and I get y is greater than negative x plus 2. So I plot a point at 2. The negative x means that the slope is negative 1 over 1. So I go down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1 again. And I'm drawing a dashed line. And greater than means that I shade above. For the second one, once again, I subtract the x. I get y is less than negative x minus 1. This time I go to negative 1 on the y-axis. Negative x means I go down 1 to the right 1. I do it again, and what I get is a dashed line. This time it's less than, so I shade below. What I notice about this one that's different than the other ones is that they don't overlap. So that means that the answer is no solution.